In the last video, I showed how I roughed out the edges of the body using a router and my oscillating spindle sander. What I'm going to do now is take my template, I have my StuMac neck template, pencil and a really tiny drill bit. I'm going to mark out all the holes on the face here, and then we'll drill out all the cavities that are necessary. So that was kind of stupid. I was going to use a little drill bit to just poke a slight through hole, and I've actually broken the bit. So I drilled out using a much bigger bit, so now I'll push those through and be able to mark my holes. So that did a much better job. Here I used looks like it's a 5/32 bit, and so this one's much less likely to snap off. And so now I have 3 rough holes here. I'm going to mark them with pencil just to make them a little bit more obvious here. And then I'm going to draw my neck hole in just to make sure that I know where I am, in relation to the front of the guitar body, so that when I drill out the neck pocket, I'm already straight and true with the rest of the center line. Lloyd doesn't belong in the video. So there you go. I have the rough outline of my humbuckers, my neck pocket, and where the holes for the controls go. And so now what I can do is drill out these holes, start drilling out this area here, and then eventually route out all of this extra wood. So I have my humbuckers drawn out, I got my neck hole, and I have my switches and pot locations. Even though this isn't going to strictly be a Les Paul, I am going to use 2 humbuckers, and I'm going to use a 3-way switch, and so I actually have to do a 1/2-inch hole here and 5/16 holes here, which I've written on the face here so I don't mess it up. And so first I'm going to use my 1/2-inch Forstner bit to go through, and then I'll switch to a 5/16 regular twist drill bit. In all the cases though, I'm not worried about blowing out the other side. I'm going to have, kind of the normal back plate here, and so even if the drill bits tear out slightly here, it's going to be in the context of a much bigger area that's going to get routed out later. So now I have my 3 holes in there. As I mentioned, I really wasn't worried about blowout. It turns out it wasn't even that big of a deal. This one blew out a little bit with the Forstner bit. But again, there's going to be a whole plate here that covers up the electronics cavity. So in the end, it doesn't even really matter. So next what I'm going to do is I'll get a bigger Forstner bit, maybe an inch or so, and start hollowing out the areas here for the humbuckers. And then I'll go back with my router and clean up and make a perfect edge. My StewMac template says that the depth of the bridge should be 13/16, and then the neck pickup should be 1 inch deep for a flat top guitar. I don't necessarily believe it has to be that close, but I do have my depth stop set to 7/8 of an inch here. What I'll probably do is go down 7/8 of an inch, my 1 inch Forstner bit in here. I'll just clean out some of this, and then I'll go back with my router. And then, wherever I end up with, some fraction of a 16th or 32nd of an inch, we'll just go with it. Humbucker pickups mount from the top, so I can't really see how having it too deep is really going to be too much of an issue unless you went out the other side. And my body is considerable thickness here, and so it's nothing that I'm worried about. So you can see I have drilled out a few holes here. Again, the point of this is not to be super precise. It's really just to get a lot of material out of the way so I don't have to do so much with the router. So I'll go ahead and finish up the neck humbucker, and then I'll go ahead and route the pickups out cleanly. Okay, off to the router. Now I'm going to use the CA glue and super glue trick to put my template on the body, and then I'll go ahead and route this. Give that a second to settle down, and then that template won't be going anywhere. And so I have a 1 inch pattern bit in my router now. And so what I'm going to do is just route out this template, and then go ahead, take all the tape off, and then do it again for the neck pickup. So now we have a nice clean routed out hole. There's a little bit of burning here. I think I was taking a little bit too aggressive about cut with the router bit. I'm trying to finish up the edge, but that's all on the inside. That's not a big deal. When we take this off, you can see the template hasn't moved. having a hard time moving it like this. And yet, if you pull up just a little bit, the template comes right off. And so this is a fantastic trick, fantastic alternative to using double-sided tape, is to just use the glue and tape method. So I'll go ahead and do the same thing here, and then my humbucker holes will be done, and I'll have to figure out what to do after that. So I had some pretty good success in the shop today. Looks like I got 2 nicely trimmed cavities for the pickups. Got my holes drilled in. As I saw in the template, it actually says you need to go a 1/4 inch further down in the little wings here, I guess to accommodate the screws. I'll end up doing that with chisels if it becomes an issue. And yeah, so the next thing I need to do is figure out what I'm going to do for this back cavity here, hollow that piece out, and then I will probably end up doing binding first before I do the neck carve, just to make sure that I can do all these curves, but we'll get there when we come to it. Thanks. On my last guitar, I really appreciated the flexibility that carving the neck pocket with chisels gave me to have a tight fit. But rather than do all the work using a chisel, I set my plunge router up to have a 5/8 depth, which is standard for a fender neck. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to route out some of this area here, staying far away from the actual edges of the neck. Then I can come back in later with a chisel and actually carve out the pieces until I get the exact fit that I want. So you can see now I've routed out a majority of the area of the neck pocket. Here, I still have some area on each side where I'll be able to refine the neck pocket, but this gives me enough of a reference point that when I do actually go in with the chisel, I know how far down I need to go, and I won't need to chisel out all this wood in the middle. So now I can go around and actually route the channel for the binding, and that will pretty much be done with the body. It'll be ready to stain and then spray with lacquer.